Hey everybody, Denise with Lazy K Homestead. Well, today is Christmas Eve and I don't have any new cookies to make, but I am going to make a pumpkin pie and an apple pie for tomorrow for dinner out of the apples that we harvested and the pumpkin that we harvested. So the reason I'm making the video is because in case somebody doesn't have evaporated milk and they only have the sweetened condensed milk, that's what we have, and we are able to get out with this storm, but we haven't really traveled too far. So that's what I have on hand. So I usually use the Libby's pumpkin pie recipe, and I've got it here somewhere. I know it by heart. So that calls for evaporated milk and then sugar. So instead of that, you just have this combined, and you've got your sugar and your evaporated milk already done. So we are going to go ahead and make this pie, so we'll be right back in a second. Okay, I had made my pie crust a little earlier and I had it chilling in the fridge. And I'm going to go ahead and roll this out. This makes two 8-inch pie crusts, and I like my pie crust a little bit thicker. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut it. Oh, probably cut maybe 1/4 of this off, and I'll save it for a later time. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of put my tripod down so you can see. I've got a lightly floured surface, and I'm just going to roll this out till I get it to where I want it to be on my pie pen. This is a 9-inch. This is really old too. I picked it up at the flea market. I guess we picked them up probably about 7 years ago at the flea market in Crossville. They have a really good flea market there. So I'm just going to go ahead and flip this. Now, I know it's probably a lot of different ways people do these things. I just kind of do it my own way. But I'm just going to roll it out. You know, pies, I love pies, and pie crust is something I've really not been an expert by any means. So I've been trying really hard in the last couple of years to make my own pie crust. And it is really satisfying because once you get it to where it's flaky and yummy, you can say, oh, I did that. I didn't have to buy it at the store. So just another way of being self-sufficient. Now this pie crust is all Crisco for the fat. I didn't use any butter this time. Okay, so what I do is I just do something like that, and I'm like, yeah, that'll be perfect because I've got enough to where I can have the crust all the way around. So I'm just going to go ahead and fold this. Bring my pie pan plate over. And I'm going to go ahead and fold this like so. I know there's probably really great ways to do that, but it worked. So there we've got it, and it's pretty even all the way around. And like I said, I like mine a little bit thicker. I think Willis and I thought that was better. So what I do is I just bring it up and I fold it like so. Underneath, like that. And then after I do that, I'll go and crimp it. And my dad taught me how to crimp my pie crust. So, and if you ever have a little rip in your pie crust, you can just take some milk and just dab it and just go like that, and it will patch it up really well. I've tried water, but milk seems to work the best, and I learned that trick from a very old lady, Miss Wash, who, gosh, she would probably be way over 100 years old now because I think she was 70 in 1970, so yeah. So anyways, what I do is I just go ahead and go like that with my index fingers and thumbs, and just go and just pinch it or crimp it like so. And I think it makes a pretty nice edge for your pie. And I may have a little split right there, so I might get some milk. Let me grab that milk and I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right. Yeah, this will work. Just a little teeny tiny milk. You just need a dab or two. I don't know if you guys can see, I've got a little split right there. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my finger and I'm just going to rub it on there. And it moistens it enough. And then it just brings it together. And you don't even see it. It's a miracle. All right. So for a pumpkin pie, you need to have a raw pie crust. So that's what this is. All right, so let's get to the filling and we'll set that aside. Okay, here we are back at the mixer. And what we need is 15 ounces or almost 2 cups of pumpkin puree. Now you can buy it in the can or do like we did, and this is fairy tale pumpkin that we processed. And I do have a video on that if you guys are interested. I'm just going to go ahead and put that in my mixer. And when I thawed this out, I went ahead and let some of the juice, because it does separate into like a juice and the puree. And I let some of the puree and the juice rather come off of the puree. So it's a little bit thicker. You know how when you open your can of pumpkin? All right, let's go ahead and start this mixer. And what we're going to do is add 2 eggs, and I'll mix one at a time. And even in all this cold, the hens laid eggs. I had to grab them before they froze, though some of them did freeze, but not too bad. Okay, so we're getting those well mixed. And I'm going to add 1 whole can of the sweetened condensed milk. So that's 14 ounces. Turn it down. And that includes your sugar and your evaporated milk. Let me go ahead and put that in here. Put that right in there, and you want the whole can. So I thought this was kind of a neat way, you know, in case you're in a pinch and you don't have the evaporated milk. We normally do, but we've used so much making all these goodies that I found that I only had sweetened condensed milk. So I thought, well, Willis said, well, can't you just make it with that? And I said, well, yeah, I think I can. So that's what we're going to do. So we'll go ahead and get that mixed up well. And the only other thing we have to do now is our spices. So let that combine really well in there. And let me see my here they are. Measuring spoons. So now you can use pumpkin pie spice if you want to buy that and just use that. You use a couple teaspoons or a whole tablespoon. It's completely up to you. I'm going to go ahead and measure out what we like. And I'm going to put in 1 teaspoon of, kind of a heaping teaspoon of cinnamon. Throwing things on the floor. And a heaping teaspoon of half a teaspoon, which probably would be almost a whole teaspoon of ground ginger. And then, if you guys have been watching my videos, you know I am in love with cardamom. So I am going to use that instead of nutmeg. I just love that spice. And I'm going to go ahead and put just a level teaspoon of that because it is kind of strong, but it's really good. So I'm going to put that in there. Go ahead and mix that around. Oh, it smells so good. I just love pumpkin. So I think that's about all we need. go ahead and get this off my beater. Put that in the sink over here, and I'll be right back. Okay, back over here to the pie crust. I've got my oven preheated at 450. Now I'm going to put the pie in at 450 for just 10 minutes, and what that'll do is set your crust. And then you're going to turn it down to 350 for about 50 minutes. Now, when you're using fresh pumpkin like this, now it has been cooked and everything, but it's not been canned. It's been baked, and then it'll be baked again, and it was cooked before we froze it. It does take a little bit longer because it does have a little bit more moisture in there. But there is my pumpkin pie, and we'll be back when it comes out of the oven. Okay, guys, so while we have the pumpkin pie in there for the first 10 minutes while it's setting that crust, I'm going to go ahead and put together the apple pie. Now, this is also raw crust, and we have a bottom and a top. And I'm going to use the apple pie filling that I canned this summer. So that's really convenient when you've got these things on hand. Of course, you can go and get the other too. So what you've bought at the store. Okay, so we've got our pie filling that I made. I do have a video on that if you guys are interested. But you can go and get your Lucky Leaf or your compote, or I think it's called Comstock. Yeah. All right, so I always smell it, make sure it's okay. It smells fine because it is a canned product, home can. And my mom aunt used to make these all the time from this. As a matter of fact, we went up to Virginia. I gave her some, and she was really excited. So we're just going to go ahead. Kathleen's here, and here's her hand. Her mom doesn't want her in any videos, so I guess I can understand that. So Kathleen's going to go ahead and just dot this with 5 or however many. Yeah, here, I'll give you another. Okay, you can just use your finger. Your hands are clean. Just, if you can see her, she's putting tablespoons of butter all over this pie. And that just kind of enriches the pie filling. Oh, there you go. That's all right. I'm struggling. And we are also going to cook this on 350 for 60 minutes. No, we want the whole thing in there. The whole thing? Yeah. So it's almost 4 or 5 tablespoons. If I was making a fresh apple pie, I would do the same thing. Yeah, put some over here too. There you go.
Okay, I'm not putting that whole thing. Yeah.
And one right there. Okay. So now what we're going to do is... Yeah, you can try one here. She's going to try one of these. Now these have been cooked and canned. So we've got a second pie crust, and that's for a top. And it's going to just lay right on top there. And kind of get it to where it matches. Okay. So what we're going to do then is we're just going to kind of do like in my other video. Kind of tuck underneath, and then we're going to pinch all that together. That's right. Have you ever made homemade pie crust with Mom?
Yeah.
Good. Her mom is a good cook too, and a good baker, isn't she?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Did you tell them about like when it breaks you can use milk?
Yep. My daughter Brittany, it was born with a cataract and poor vision, and she is now unfortunately going blind. But she's never been treated or wanted to be treated any other way but like everybody else. I raised her that way so she could survive in this world. And so she teaches her kids and her daughter all these good things.
Timer went on.
How to be a good daughter and a good cook. So we're just going to take a fork And I hear Alexa over there telling me that my 10 minutes is up. So we're just doing this, and what we're doing this for is to let the steam out as it cooks. So we're going to put this in the oven, and guys, we'll be back in about an hour. Okay, guys. Well, it is Christmas Eve, and here are our pies. So I wanted to let you see them before I put them up for the night. The pumpkin and the apple. So that'll be our pies for tomorrow with our turkey and everything else. So we're just having a small get together, but it's going to be wonderful to have family and all the good times and memories that we've made. So wishing you a very Merry Christmas, and I'll be doing some videos between now and New Year's, but if I don't see you, Happy New Year, and we'll pray for wonderful blessings. So y'all have a great night. Bye.